limitations. What's going on, family? Black Feniks checking in. Just wanted to talk to you for a brief second tonight about setting limitations on yourself. I was just thinking here, I was doing a little renovations at the house, been situating a couple things, doing what I can while I can. And one thing that I realized that when you dealing with the system and you dealing with, I would say, narrow-minded people, they tend to set limitations. Hog on, hog on. What's going on, family? So they tend to set limitations on themselves. And they will say, the system will say, hey, man, you can't go this direction. And they say, oh, well, the system say, when they don't do any research and they don't try to figure out ways to do things for themselves. Being independent, man, is always push you to create things, make things, figure out ways to make a situation better for yourself. You see a problem, you don't say, oh man, what I'm going to do? You say, okay, how can I fix this problem? And I think that's the most important thing that we have to remember when we're building our independence, when we're chasing our careers, when we're just trying to stay focused and be motivated to, to become better. We have to realize that we set the limits. As many times I have been faced with a problem and say, okay, this is not going to work. And I'll be like, well, how can I make it work? You know what I'm saying? So there's many ways to look at things, but I was just sitting here getting a couple things organized, getting my tools organized. I had to use my miner saw here, and it is super, super good, man. I'm really glad that I purchased, been getting all my tools so I can do other stuff. You know what I mean? So not only that do I do welding and fabrication, but I also do my own home repairs, because certain things that it's good to learn on your own. And since this is my home, it's an older home, and I've been learning how to, save some money, but also make things look nice. I've been learning how to do some things myself. So I think that that's important too, because we have to realize when we see an issue, we say, okay, instead of us complaining about it, how can we fix the issue? Man, I appreciate that, family. I appreciate that. And you know what? That's the goal. The goal is to keep us motivated, man. And as things hit me, I like to share them, because I know that when I was searching, I was looking for certain information, I couldn't find it. And I realized a lot of times the key be when you're working on something, when you're doing a project. Like today, like I had to do some renovations in the kitchen. It's kind of bright in here right now. I had to do some renovations in the kitchen, and this piece here was too short because I had to extend it some. So my goal was to extend the kitchen. So I knew I was going to have to add a piece to that existing top up there, and that's what I did tonight. I came in and I added my last one up here and extended it, and touched up, painted, and I still got to fall back and put my trim. Still got some more to do, but I'm finished with the roundabout top in this area. Now I'm focused on this area. And when I was doing it, a guy was like, oh man, you can't put this size, you're gonna have to get a custom. I'm like, why do I gotta get a custom if this is my spot? So what I did, I just extended it 2.5 inches and then made it perfect right there for the refrigerator. So sometimes, man, we can be faced with issues, we can be faced with problems personally, and we'll limit ourselves. We were like, oh man, I can't do that, man, because I ran into this situation and the system say it won't work. Sometimes we got to go against the grain. We have to be willing to do whatever it takes to make things happen, man. You know what I mean? So working on this has also allowed me to think outside the box, has humbled me, because I have invested more than what I thought. I sometimes you can approach a situation blindly thinking, okay, this is what it can take. This is what it's going to take. And then you jump into it and you're like, oh my goodness, this is going to be more evolved than what you thought. But that's when it comes to, reminding yourself that you set the limits, So everything that I've been doing, family, I've been setting limits for myself. You know what I mean? Like, okay, I hit this limit, and then I set something. Well, let me overcome this goal. certain, I ain't gonna say set limits, I'm gonna say set goals for myself. So as I reach one, I achieve another, but I'll never say I can't do something. Don't no matter what the situation is. Like, I've been sitting in here messing with things, getting stuff right, and I got a room full of stuff. Fall back, and I'm always falling back, adjusting stuff, falling back, doing this because I'm still working on things. But now I'm like consolidated to one room that I'm still messing with on top of the kitchen. But you know what? The main thing is, though, I ain't setting no limits, man. When I got the time, I just jump on it, family. You know what I mean? I jump on it and try to make some things happen. And that's why I wanted to say that, because I feel a lot of times we limit ourselves. We limit ourselves once we face a dilemma, once we run into a situation, once we, a door closed. And I understand, man, sometimes in life you get hit with things and you fall down. And I think it's all right to hit the ground, man. It is what it is. Sometimes life can hit you hard, man, and you gonna hit the ground. But it's all about staying on the ground. You know what I mean? You're not gonna stay there. You're not gonna get stagnant and say, "Hey, you know what? This is where I belong," because that's not where you belong. You know what I mean? It's just a stepping stone at the moment. You know what I mean? So everything that I've been approaching, man, a lot of stuff that I don't know how to do, I learn. I apply myself so that way when a situation come, I'll be ready to approach it because I was willing to go that extra mile. And I remember when a guy told me one time, he said, "Man, if you stay ready, you ain't never have to get ready." And man, that's some real stuff, because if you prepare yourself and get tools and get things ready, when it's time to make a move, all you got to do is make a move. You know what I mean? So I remember a guy said, "Man, when you ready, man, let me know. We're going to scale." I said, "Man, I stay ready, man. You just let me know when you need me to pop up." You know, I think we have to be like that, man, especially in 2021, entering 2022, family. Oh my goodness. It's going to be a different hustle. We got to completely switch it up. Like, I've been talking to myself, like, "Hey, man, I got to completely switch everything up." Like, I've been working on different things. I've been subtracting. I've been adding. I've been like, okay, I got to do this. I got to focus on that. And and I think that we have to be realistic with ourselves. When you look in the mirror, you know how you look. And I want to say that because you know what your issue is. You know what you need to work on. You know what you don't need to work on. Just be realistic. Don't blow smoke. You know how, where I'm from, we love to say, "Man, don't be blowing no smoke on me, man." You know what I mean? I mean, just keep it real. You know what I'm saying? If I remember Cat Williams said, "Man, growing up, we look in the mirror, we got a big nose. Oh well, I got a big nose. We keep on moving." We wasn't flooded with millions where we're looking in the mirror, kind of like Michael Jackson said, "You know what? Let me change my nose," and change it so many times where it was literally falling apart. You see what I'm saying? Because we wanted to keep changing and changing and changing something that was just meant to be, you know. So sometimes I think that we just have to learn, man, from example. We have to humble ourselves and accept things for what they are and say, "Hey, let's work on this. Okay, let's work on that. All right, let's work on that." And just remember that we set the limits. You set the limits. I have to remind myself all the time that when it's all said and done and we go to the grave and life has expired, it's only one person to a box. The only time I ever seen two to a box when it was a small, small baby that a person passed with, and they'll put the baby inside. But other than that, it's one person to a box. So, we have to be conscious of that, and knowing that we have to maximize our time while we're here. We have to do all we can because we don't know how long we got. Sometimes I wonder when I listen to certain people talk, like, man, they must talking to God personally. He must told them they got X amount of time, because some people act like they got unlimited amount of time. Nothing is going to happen. Everything is going to be all good. You know what I'm saying? I'll be like, man, who are they talking to? You know what I mean? But just wanted to say, man, we can't limit ourselves, family. If we're going to get over the hump, if we're going to do some great things, we got to remember that there is no limitation but the ones we set on ourselves. So, as you go through your week, you know, as you get your hog on, man, as you do your thing, just remind yourself constantly when you're facing something and it seems like that door just closed. Sometimes you might have to make a door. Sometimes you might have to cut a wall. You know, you might have to cut inside the wall and fabricate something. It's okay. Just remember that the only limits you got is those you place on yourself. Hold on.